White balance can be the difference between something like this and something like this. More often than not, white balance can be partly accounted for in post, but it's definitely easier to adjust the exposure and white balance before you take the picture than it can be to edit in post. Here's an image where I used a basic method and some minor tweaking to find the native gray point of the image. Without in-depth color correcting, that's about as good as you can expect as opposed to something like this. But before you adjust the white balance, you must adjust the exposure. Often one of these functions will not correctly do its job without the other. Hold down the button with the plus and minus on it right next to the shutter. Then roll the wheel on the face of the camera with your thumb. This is how you'll control exposure. To the right makes the image wider, letting in more light, and to the left you let in less light. You want to make sure not to overexpose your image, or you'll wash out all your details. When you make this mistake, there's no fixing it in post, because there are not enough details to resurrect. Underexposing an image can lead to the same problems. These tend to be slightly more fixable, but more often than not you're just washing out your details with black instead of white. Make sure when you're adjusting the exposure to capture as many details as possible without washing out your subject. The more data you can accurately capture, the better. Once you've gotten the correct exposure, you can adjust your white balance. White balance tells the camera what the mathematical white is in an image. From there, the camera can determine the black and 50% gray points. This sets all the colors into balance. The cameras we use have many ways of doing this. There are several modes that auto-adjust the white balance for certain light scenarios, such as fluorescent, incandescent, shade, and direct sunlight. Often these are all you will need, but it's important to know how and what you are actually doing so you can spot when something's wrong. Another way you can adjust the white balance, go to the menu option in your camera. Select white balance and scroll all the way down to pre. Make sure you're not in live view mode or this will not work. Then select measure. You'll take a picture of something that you think is white or a white card that you've brought with you, and it will give you the accurate white balance for the image. If you properly white balance a camera and pull up the image file in Photoshop, when you use the eyedropper on the white paper photograph, you should get red 250, green 250, and blue 250, or all of them being the same, which is approaching 255, almost pure white. Hopefully now you'll make the quick decision before you shoot to correct the image and save yourself some strife later.